cheers to episode 53.
Oh, Grant's drinking hard.
Cheers.
I got a, it's called a beatbox. Blue raspberry with 2 Z's in the
I've had one of those. They're pretty gross.
11%. So, see you guys. Nice knowing you.
Enjoy your weekend, man. I have water.
Yeah, me too.
Jeez, dude. You would have thought you guys lost the Peach Bowl.
It's a long weekend.
It's Monday, Grant. I'm working all week, man. Not everyone's weekends are in the middle of the week.
The week just started. They're working all week. Today's Monday.
It's going to be a busy week.
So we were recording this Monday, January 3rd, 7:05 p.m. I just realized there's a Monday Night Football game on. I do not have it on the TV. Now I feel like I have some FOMO, but it doesn't come on for a while. So we should be okay. And the college football playoff was a bad time. Confirmed. Not as fun as I thought it was going to be. You guys know all about that. And now I have empathy. I understand what you guys went through, and I'm sympathetic towards it. And hopefully you guys can show some of that to me as this show continues.
I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so, man. I told you this would happen. So at least you should have been a little prepared.
I ignored all your warnings.
Wow. Then I don't feel bad for you.
Fair. To preview this show, our weekly recaps, Orange Bowl review, Peach Bowl review, National Championship predictions. That'll be brief. And then college basketball, Michigan State play this upcoming weekend, if you didn't know that, and I don't blame you because it snuck up on us. And then also a little bit of NFL Lions talk, probably sprinkled throughout. I don't know. We'll see how all that goes. So I wrote down some key things for the weekly recap. I just didn't want us to forget. I don't know. Evan, would you like to do you have a huge trip to talk about. Do you want to do that during the Peach Bowl, or do you want to start us off with it?
I don't care.
What do you think, Alex?
I want to hear it now.
Do you want to hear it now?
Yeah. I mean, this is like the biggest part of the recaps. Yeah.
It's what I've been looking forward to hearing the most this
I don't
week.
have anything to say, so yes,
no pressure.
I need Evan to recap.
Oh, Alex, you have some things to talk about in your weekly recap.
Just the last item on the show sheet there. Anyways.
All right.
Break it down for us.
Just 3 dudes just car tripping it down to Atlanta. Left on the 29th early in the morning. Trip down there. Nothing special, really.
Nothing special on the way down?
No, not really. Just vibing out. It went by a lot faster because you're just excited to get there.
What games did you guys play on the way there? Any good car games?
No, because shout out Drew. He has YouTube TV and his phone is just fantastic. Connection's fantastic. We just watched football games every single second we were in the car.
Oh, wow.
It was wonderful.
Guys
like riding
being
on
dudes.
a plane.
Yeah, just bowl games were on nonstop, so we watched everything. Watched Maryland. Watched what game was on after that? Don't even remember. But yeah, we watched all the bowl games on the 29th. And then even on 31st, we watched bowl games. And then on the way home on the 1st, we watched bowl games. So it was good. And then, first when we got there, went to Moondogs. Shout out Moondogs, great bar. Played a little shuffleboard. Yeah.
Wow.
It was like a game.
I have an important question, Evan.
Yeah.
When you guys would go places, you guys would all post the exact same story. Was that planned?
No. Just that first
night. You guys
night.
all
it was
posted
just
your shuffleboards and your Peach Bowl. Just thought,
you're not going to take a picture of the Peach Bowl?
No, I would have. There'd been 4 pictures.
That's all I need.
You're not going to take a picture of the shuffleboard at Moondogs?
Moondogs was lit, bro.
How does shuffleboard work?
It's what is it called? Curling, but just on the board.
Who is the best at it?
Cody won. Yeah,
not the only thing he won this week.
Yeah. So funny. We went back there later another day. But the first night, I went 3-4 my record. Never lost to Drew, but never beat Cody. So yeah, it was a battle. Good time. bowl game, woke up somewhat early, and it rained the entire day on the 30th in Atlanta. From the time we woke up until like 4 o'clock, it rained.
Not during kickoff.
Not during kickoff because the roof was open. And Mercedes-Benz single-handedly just went and asked Cody, like, should the roof be opened? Because in the middle of the day, it was downpouring. And Cody just turns and he's like, I think the roof's going to be open. Like, look at the tweet. And I was like, no, it's not. It's downpouring. And he called it. And then we're walking the stadium and he showed me the tweet. He said, hey, the roof's going to be open. Unbelievable.
And you took your shirt off.
Yeah, I did. I was up in the second row. Just, yeah.
It's one of my favorite tweets I've ever sent out on our account. I don't think it got enough love as it should have gotten.
It was fantastic. We ate at this breakfast spot. Was phenomenal. I mean, it was just a tourist attraction. We waited an hour and a half to get in. Yeah.
Breakfast, Evan?
Well, we ate at like noon, so technically
they
it
better
wasn't.
have squirted syrup in your mouth for you.
Squirted?
I mean, this breakfast was fantastic.
It must have been the greatest breakfast of all time to wait that long for.
It was arguably one of the best breakfasts I had on the trip. We'll get to the other fantastic breakfast.
Is Bob Evans better?
No, Bob Evans stinks.
Shut up.
We never went to Bob Evans. We went to a better breakfast spot than Bob Evans later. No, so it was just phenomenal.
Hey, sorry, real quick. That got me thinking. Do you think there'd be a market for a breakfast style spot like a Benihana where they cook like omelets on a griddle in front of you?
Yes.
And then you have like a little mimosa and Bloody Mary bar next to it. I think that could be huge.
100%. Everybody loves people when they just cook in front of them. You can upcharge it and be like, yeah, here we go.
You just make like the eggs and the hash browns and everything and all the breakfast sausage and meats right there on the griddle in front of you. I think that'd be unbelievable.
You do Mongolian. It's like just like my Mongolian barbecue. Pick whatever you want in your omelet. Go watch the chef cook and then go sit down. Yeah. Or just do it right in front of yourself and have like the, I don't know, the other places I've never been to.
Yeah, I think that'd be amazing. Anyways, sorry, but
we're
that's something
to
that's something to keep flagged in the library.
So we try to go after breakfast, brunch, lunch, however you want to call it. We try to go to the College Football Hall of Fame, and one of the biggest tourist attractions in the city, and they closed it at 2. We try to get line at 1. They're like, no, we're not selling tickets anymore. Fat L. Because when we were trying to go in the morning, in between we had like an hour and a half, the line was wrapped like down the block to try to get in. So we took a fat L on that.
So you waited for an hour and a half for breakfast.
Oh, we walked around.
But you didn't wait for the college football museum or whatever.
Well, like, see, we went to breakfast. I put my reservation in. They said it'd probably be an hour and a half. We said, okay, let's go walk around. We went and walked around, and we're like, we could do the college football playoff. Saw the line. We're like, nope, not doing that. Waited in the worst Starbucks of all time for coffee in the morning. They were out of everything, it was terrible. The tickets won't work, so like if you order something online, like you didn't show a name.
Were they just not fit to host a Peach Bowl? I mean,
basically yes. Okay, so then
when you have the biggest alumni base in the country breathing down your neck for a bowl game, it's going to be tough to serve that many people.
So couldn't go to we have from now it's like 1 to like 5:36. What should we do? Like, okay, let's go find any local bars. Atlanta's bars don't open up until like 3 or 4 o'clock. None of them were open. There was one bar that was open and it was already packed. It was already packed. So we're like, okay, now we have to find somewhere to eat or drink. We had somewhere to drink before we went to another spot that opened up at like 4.
Is there any chance like everyone just thought you guys were a group of narcs and they wouldn't let you into their bars, or like you were told where to go? And like, this seems impossible, Evan, that things don't open till 3.
They weren't. Like, we got into one bar, it was already a line out the door. And we could hear Pitt people just chanting inside the bar. It's like, this thing's already packed.
Alex, I'm not sure what you're looking at, but no one can hear what you're looking at, so you're okay.
I muted myself because of it. It's that stupid rattle. It's going on again, so...
All right. Well, appreciate. I knew something was up there. So sorry. You went into a bar and people were chanting "Hail Pitt" in your face.
We were outside of it and we could hear it rattling through this bar. We're like, wow, there's a lot of Pitt fans. So we went to a great establishment that was had nobody sitting in there. We went to Hooters for a couple drinks. You know, had watched a couple bowl games. And then we decided to go to, what was the name of the bar? Stats. I think Stats.
Feels like a good football bar.
Bar opened up at 4.
Statistics.
We got that. We were going to get there around 4. We got there around 4, and there was already a line. We waited in line, got in. There was a cover. It was great. Great environment. A lot of Michigan State fans. The DJ was playing the fight song. It was great. Got some drinks. And then we went to the stadium. Game happened. It was wonderful. It was fantastic. Second and third quarter stunk. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, electric.
Wow.
So
The
nice
Benz.
inside.
The Benz.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We get into an Uber. Going from our hotel downtown Atlanta in the morning before we had breakfast. And, you know, she's asking us, oh, where you're from? We're like, oh, we're from Michigan. And she's like, oh, why are you down here? And we basically said, oh, there's a football game on, playing Pitt and Michigan State play. And she's like, oh, where's it at? And we said, oh, it's in Mercedes-Benz. She's like, oh, it's in the Benz? It must be a big game. We're like, yeah, it is. Calling it the Benz, I love it. And so we called it the Benz from there on out. And I think I'm only going to call it the Benz from there on out. And then after she asked us that, it was 30-second pause, and then she just asked us, "Oh, so you guys on the football team?" Like, yeah.
Yep. Yes,
yeah,
we
are.
We're playing in the
I wanted to
Benz
say
tonight.
no, we're retired, but I think it would have been too unrealistic.
So you said we were on the team.
So that was funny.
We said screw the team itinerary. We're going to take an Uber ride in the morning with you.
No, we said no, we're not. We're just fans. We're just going to the game.
Loser.
Yeah. Game was fantastic. After the game, just go green, go white chants was echoing through Mercedes-Benz.
The Benz. Sorry,
Benz.
I had to catch you there.
The Benz. It was great.
Like Miami? Was it a Miami vibe?
Yeah, it was. Just everybody high-fiving each other. All the Pitt fans have already raced out of there. It was just Michigan State fans left.
Tuck and his disciples coming.
Yeah, we go back to Moondogs that night.
Of
Fantastic.
course.
Got to run the shuffleboard a little bit again. And then Nashville, baby, for New Year's Eve. If you haven't been, you have to go. And whoever is going, I will gladly go with you. Just because it was just a fun time. Before we get to Nashville, we ate at one of the greatest establishments in America.
Bob Evans.
Waffle House. I don't know what I've been missing from my life for the past 24 years, and that was the first time I ever ate at a Waffle House. Okay, so we got the All-Star Special. Great value. You get everything you want in a breakfast. Everything you want. You get hash browns. You get eggs. You get your choice of meat. You get toast. And then you get this perfectly made, tasteful, delightful, fluffy, thick waffle. And it's just sitting there staring you in the face. And shout out Mary, our waitress on the first place. She cooked the perfect waffle. When I say perfect waffle, I mean it is perfect. You put butter on it, douse it in syrup, and just the center of the waffle, it doesn't look thick because of the plate it comes on. But no, it is a solid inch thick. And it just soaks up the syrup so perfectly. And I had a life-changing experience from Waffle House. Life-changing experience.
Is this a waffle ASMR segment? What's going on here?
You should have been there. Oh my gosh. I talked about this waffle and the couple bites I had from the waffle for the entire next day. It's just Cody and Drew just didn't stop hearing it from me.
When are you going to be able to go back, though? It just seems like a problem.
I don't, I guess there's one in Toledo. South. I might just go to Toledo and be like, yeah, I need to get a waffle. And so on our way home in Tennessee, we stopped at another Waffle House. The waitress wasn't as good. And I got the same exact breakfast. Got another waffle. Didn't look as satisfying, but it was still perfect. It was so good. I don't know how to describe how thick and fluffy the waffle is. Something about it just soaks up the syrup. It is fantastic. It's a life-changing experience. If you've never had a Waffle House waffle, you're missing out.
I think you need to never go back so that the legend of Waffle House can live on
That's
forever.
what Cody and Drew said.
You just can't go back because there's no way it'll live up to
It
your
was something about the
expectations.
experience, like to get to Waffle House, because we tried one Waffle House. It was completely packed. They have like half the seats blocked off. So we're like, screw it. Looks like we're not getting Waffle House. We're just driving to get back on the expressway, find a gas station. What is sitting there, just like the beam of God's light just shining down right next to this gas station, just pops up out of nowhere, is a Waffle House. We have to go in. And that's when Mary served up the best tasting waffle of all time.
I never thought Evan would pray to Waffle House like the Bible.
No, it is the greatest breakfast I've ever had.
Evan, I've known you to be a trustworthy guy with your recommendations. I pulled up a picture of the All-Star Special. The waffle looks like but I'm going to take your word that it tastes better. And also, I'm just not a waffle guy. I always think they're just overrated, but I'm willing to give them a chance.
You have to.
If I ever encounter them.
You have to. You're ever driving down on a road trip or you're just down there in this southern area, you have to go to a Waffle House.
The picture doesn't look good. It
Well,
looks
it's
very
life-changing.
thin.
It's
Well,
not.
I'm happy
it's the
for you.
plate that it comes in. That's what I said too. It's like
The
this
plate
plate.
looks like styrofoam.
Well, you're looking at a bad picture.
Alex, are you looking at the one where it has like this like crappy looking cheese on top of the hash browns too?
Yeah.
That's called,
it's going to be a tough
covered hash
sell, Evan.
browns. That's called covered
I don't
hash
know.
browns.
If I ever go to a Waffle House and it does disappoint, I'm just not going to tell you based on this.
It would be it's my fault, but no, it was a life-changing experience. Nashville's great. Bar hopped a little bit. All the name bars, the popular bars, you had to have tickets to get in. So we kind of went to like the smaller, unnamed ones, so to speak. So I had a great time. Saw some live bands. I just didn't know that Bridgestone Arena, where Nashville Predators play, is right there on Broadway.
Oh, I did not know that either.
It is right there on Broadway.
Feels like there's no room for it down there.
Yeah. Apple is a terrible company. There's just an Apple store right on
Hot
Broadway.
take.
Just right on Broadway, just taking up prime real estate. It's like you could definitely have like another bar there. Nope, it's an Apple store.
You got to have phones, Evan.
Yeah, you think Tim Cook or Steve Jobs cares what you think about the location
No,
of their stores?
I don't think they do. Got to see a concert. Another bad thing. We came a bit over prepared because before we left our hotel, it was like a 70% chance of rain at 10 o'clock.
Oh, no. So you had to carry jackets around.
No, I didn't carry it. I wore it the entire time. And I was sweating my...
Evan, full disclosure, when I saw a Snapchat of you, or maybe it's an Instagram story, I thought you were like trying to dress up and that you were wearing a suit jacket over a quarter zip. And I was like, man, Evan's really overthinking this Nashville thing. I mean, he's really overthinking it.
I wore a typical bar outfit and I just threw a rain jacket on over top.
Okay. I thought it was like a full suit jacket. I'm like, oh my God.
No.
It's a terrible look. I
Dressed to the
screenshotted
nines.
it because I was super worried. I was like, Evan can't be wearing that.
You had to make fun of me. All right. Yeah. So sold Dirk Bentley for 3 hours. He performed for 3 hours because Zach
way.
Brown Band and Sam Hunt canceled because of COVID.
Oh,
He was fantastic. He was great. Shout out our boy Hayden. He's a legend.
Hayden?
Yeah, his name's Hayden. And Alex, his girlfriend. Just met him at the concert. One of the coolest people. Two of the coolest people you've ever met.
I do forget that Alex is a girl's name.
Easy.
Some are saying. Yeah, just
Alexander's
a cool
a
dude.
man name.
Just a cool dude that we met. After the concert, went back down. Ran into a former high school. I don't know what to call him. Somebody that we went with high school with. We just ran into him on
Name drop.
Broadway.
Name
Yep.
drop.
Uh,
Oh.
yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
were sitting across the street waiting to cross, and Drew's just like, "Don't we know that guy?" And Cody's like, that night we went to Tootsie's.
Wait, Evan,
Ooh.
back up.
No.
So these concerts. So on TV, there was like this live from Nashville thing, and they were just like jumping to a bunch of bars and like performances. Was that all going on live, or was it recorded?
It was all going on live.
Grant, thoughts?
The outdoor one.
The outdoor one, yes, we were at that
big
one.
outdoor one.
And then they swung to like Kelsey Ballerini in a packed bar, and it looked super recorded.
Yes.
And I was skeptical.
But that
It was
real.
not recorded. That was
I
live.
told you, Grant.
So we didn't know this,
I was
but Cole Swindell was performing live in Luke Bryan's in Luke Bryan's bar.
Yeah,
We
they
did see
showed that
that,
on
yeah.
TV.
I think Blake Shelton performed in his bar, and Miranda Lambert performed in her bar.
I don't
after
like Blake
midnight.
Shelton.
So those bars had lines just out
They
the
looked
doors.
packed.
They were packed. It blocked off the road. You just walked down the middle of Broadway. It was fantastic. Great time.
More fun than Atlanta.
Kind of like Apple Pumpkin, but different.
No, not the same.
Yes. Yeah, because we were bar hopping and Atlanta's bars weren't open. So
Chop Atlanta.
I almost said the F word, Grant, but for you, I didn't.
then road trip home, just drove in rain the entire time, and we stopped at a Buffalo Wild Wings to watch a part of the Rose Bowl. It was the nicest Buffalo Wild Wings of all time. Just picture what Buffalo Wild Wings looks in your head.
What's up with all these chains
And
that
then
are
just
just
do
blowing
a-
your mind that you've been
It was
to, Evan?
completely different.
Oh, get this. Get
The
this.
insides looked nothing the same. The seating looked nothing the same. The bar looked nothing the same. It was completely 180.
And they
But
served
a lot
waffles.
nicer. If they served waffles, I would have got it.
That good. B-Dubs was that good. Just your
B-Dubs was
standard
just
B-Dubs.
average at best.
The
Waffle
wings
House
stink.
was 10 out of 10 both times I ate there.
No, you said the second one wasn't as good.
Well, because the first one was an unreal experience. It was just as good.
So, did you do a lot of drinking? How was your
Yes.
How was your
Drugs.
head?
Any drugs?
I did pop ibuprofen every single morning. Did drink probably 2 bottles of water before I. So, all in all, the trip was fantastic. Great time. I enjoyed it, and I can't wait to go back to Nashville.
Well, it sounds like your week was better than Alex's. He lost his fantasy championship matchup.
Okay, and I beat you in the semifinal, so you weren't even playing in the championship matchup.
Living in the past like Michigan fans.
Hey,
I
Grant,
see.
did you lose in your championship in your other league?
Yeah, I got dusted in my
Okay.
work league, and I wore it
Okay.
like a man. Unless Nick Chubb gets 65 points tonight or something like that.
Possible.
Possible.
Yeah, I did lose to the Mitten Money host himself, Cody.
And you know what's
Damn.
worse? You know what's the worst thing about it is, Evan? Is that both of us were hurt. They say you're hurt most by the ones that you love. And Amon-Ra St. Brown absolutely
Killed us.
destroyed our hopes. My
Both
boss
times.
had him. Cody Wilkins had him. And we just... It was dark there in the 425 slate. It was good at first because Rashad Penny for Alex was just having his way with the
Penny,
Detroit
Brandon
defense.
Cooks, they both scored in the first 5 minutes. Then Rashad Penny scored again, and I had come all the way back from a 50-point deficit, and I was down 4 points.
I saw you at one point. You were down 4 points halfway through at halftime of the Sunday night football.
Sunday night game, I got back to 4 points.
Hmm.
A.J. Dillon scores 2 touchdowns in the second half.
Yeah,
He's a tough guy to tackle. I'll tell you that.
Amon-Ra St. Brown scores 35 fantasy points in our league.
PPR God. What can I
And
say?
I thought
He's
Rashad Penny
unbelievable.
had a career day with 32 points, and it wasn't even enough.
Should have started Patterson or Peterson for Washington.
Still would have lost.
I did in my work league. It still didn't matter.
Yeah, I would have lost no matter what. I mean,
Should have picked
At
up Bryson
least-
Berrios.
no. At least I lost to someone that scored a gajillion points, and I scored a lot
True.
of points too. So it's not like my team just laid a deuce and I got killed. I did my best.
Yeah, it couldn't be me in the third
Grant,
place matchup.
did you have to face Jamar Chase? Anybody have to face? Grant,
Nope.
you had to face?
No.
No? Oh.
Thankfully, he was out. I did in by, Joe Burrow was his quarterback.
Oh.
And then he had Boston Scott, who ripped off 22 and a half.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns, I
Oh,
think.
Boston Scott.
And then Amon-Ra. So I got killed by just your average of the mill players that balled out. But even worse for Alex, at least I had a little silver lining that my football team beat his head to head, and it was fantastic. And guys, I could not be more in on the Bengals after
It
what
was
I
a ref
watched.
show.
Oh,
No,
it was a
it was a
ref show
it was a
when you
Jamar
blitzed on
Chase
3rd
show?
and 27 and left your corner out to dry on
Now, I'm
one-on-one
not
coverage.
saying that the coverage was good throughout the game on Jamar Chase.
Your
'cause he
defensive
just-
quarter on 3rd and 27 after you just sacked him decided to blitz everybody and leave your corner one-on-one with the number one
Evan.
player on the field that day.
I'm not saying the coverage in general was good. However, the refs were helping the Bungles.
You had
At
10
the end of the
penalties
game.
accepted. I think 11 penalties
Did you,
accepted throughout
Evan,
the
did you
entire
see
game.
the last 7 plays from the 1 yard line?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was.
You
All
stuffed
fair-
him twice.
All fairly done.
You need a new safety because Sorensen can't get over on a cover 2.
Oh, Dirty Dan needs to retire. he did great things though. But it's time
Rashad
to go.
Fenton should probably retire. L'Jarius Sneed should probably hang him up. I mean, they just
don't
got
tell Tyreek Hill to
absolutely
drop that 50-yard
dominated.
bomb at the end of the first half.
Yeah, he does that a lot. Also, the hold on the kick return.
But also, Eli Apple gave you guys a gift. He dropped a surefire pick in the second quarter there, and the jungle would have erupted.
after that.
Bengals dropped 2 interceptions.
Yes. The biggest thing in the game was that the Chiefs had their way with the Bengals in the first half and then scored 3 points in the second half. So get the rest out of here. The offense just stuttered.
Nah, it doesn't matter. See you in the playoffs.
My team is sweet.
All of our teams are vying for the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Evan, but your team is the most fraudulent 1 seed I've ever seen in my life watching the NFL.
Not gonna lie, Evan, your team kind of stinks.
We beat you head to head, and you're looking up at us. We get to play the Texans next week.
You played us week 2.
I don't care when we played you. We spanked you up and down the field.
Yeah, but we're good now. It's our first
we're
loss in
even
like
better now.
8 weeks.
We're just getting healthy.
Horrible.
Is Derrick
How
Henry
are we
back?
horrible? Derrick Henry's about to get back, and
Fine.
then
You're not
we get the
horrible.
1
You're
seed.
The
Bye
most
week for Derrick
boring
Henry to get healthy.
You might be the most boring team
yeah.
in the entire NFL.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
unwatchable.
It is
Unwatchable
mind-blowing.
product.
It's mind-blowing that if Tennessee just wins, if they get the 1 seed, they just have to win 2 home games and then they're in the Super Bowl. And that would probably be the most boring Super Bowl of all time.
Well, if Derrick Henry's back, it would
win a
not be
Super
that
Bowl.
boring.
No, I'm just saying be in it, Alex. If they win 2 home games, you know how easy that is? 2 home games, you win, you're in the Super Bowl. That's getting the bye in the new playoff format is so clutch, and like it's the biggest reward
Well,
probably
the
in
Titans
sports.
already beat the Bills this year. They already beat the Chiefs.
Super Bowl.
No,
Could you imagine? I wouldn't watch it.
Yes, you would.
Only because I have to.
crazy it is. I'm so back in on the NFL now that I have a new team and like college football is basically done. Like I'm back in for the storylines. I'm just jazzed for the playoffs.
Grant, I'm the same way. I was
Yes.
sitting there.
You're back, Evan?
Give me a second. I'll explain. I was sitting there this morning. Just woke up super late, like usual. Student on break.
Right.
Go out, get my coffee, sit down, just watch Good Morning Football, and they're just showing like the playoff teams. And I'm like, wow, there are a lot of good quarterbacks in the playoffs.
It's insane.
Evan's back.
And there's a potentially just like whatever game you watch is going to be like some young stud just trying to ball out. And I'm
The
like,
league's in good hands, Evan.
oh my gosh.
It's exciting.
As long as everything like COVID's gonna mess this playoffs up, it's inevitable. It's gonna happen. But
Hey, NFL, this is what you do. Just don't test the players, and
they
nobody
already
will
did
test
that.
positive.
They're basically already doing that. You can
But
get
as it-
COVID and play the same week.
Carson Wentz.
Well, the
As this-
Lions are COVID brittle right now.
Who cares?
Yeah, and the Eagles, I think. As it stands right now, though, gone are the days of watching terrible Connor Cook in the playoffs.
Dude.
The worst quarterback.
Shut your mouth right now.
The worst quarterbacks in the playoffs, if it were to start today, would be like Derek Carr or Carson Wentz. Like those are still good quarterbacks, like solid quarterbacks. So there's gonna
Jalen
be, like
Hurts.
usually there's always like the Texans when they used to make it, they'd have a terrible quarterback.
Deshaun Watson.
No, before then, you know what I'm talking about. Like
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
you'd watch like Andy Dalton. Like now the
Stud.
quarterbacks are at least like solid in all these games with no people sitting out and like the quarterbacks that make it. So that's gonna be sweet.
Jalen Hurts is a bum. Taysom Hill could be a quarterback in the playoffs, Grant.
That would be the bad scenario.
Feels bad that
he
you
stinks.
started him.
He scored more than my other option, Evan, by like 15.
Because I picked up Trey Lance like a fantasy football
Because
sweat.
Kirk Cousins got COVID.
Hey, rumor has it, somebody that I know that I've talked to within the past 2 hours almost dropped their starting quarterback to pick up Trey Lance.
Are you just going to say who the quarterback was?
Dak Prescott almost got dropped to pick up Trey Lance.
What a
Dak-
budget.
Just
Dak-
as a
he
screw
sucked,
it,
though.
last week.
Dak sucks.
He
Cowboys
did have a
offense
terrible
sucks.
game. Yeah.
They need to feed Ezekiel.
That doesn't
And
look
Tony
like
Pollard.
water, Evan.
It's not. It's Arnold Palmer.
Why did you say you were drinking water in the beginning?
Like, is there real big that much of excitement between the differences?
Yeah, Joe Burrow's the best quarterback in the league. Let's shift to the Orange Bowl now that we got the NFL stuff
Just
out
going
of
to
the
let that
way.
go because I like Joe Burrow.
So the best thing that came out of this game was that our
nothing.
account had a viral video that absolutely reached every corner of the internet leading up into
Oh
the
my
game.
gosh.
A lot of hate on that as
Just
well.
me being on vacation and then just Yes. Oh, phone notification. Oh, your phone buzzed in your pocket. What is it?
You can't turn those off.
Nobody's hitting me up. Nobody's like, oh, hey, Evan, how's vacation yet? Nope.
50 Tinder matches.
Fans.
50 Tinder matches in
A lot of people complaining about the song.
Yeah, but not that many though. I'd like to address that.
A lot of people. Wait, the best part I think of this viral tweet was when Michigan lost. You had like just random people quoting it, saying, "Well, this video didn't work."
Hey, any publicity is good publicity. I don't care.
I almost responded to several of those people. I was so mad, like because of the game.
There's an Ohio State fan who quoted it.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you got absolutely dusted. So get out of here. But anyways, just the numbers on it. One was 80,000 views. And then if you go to the tweet, like 371,000 impressions, it came across people's feed. 371,000 people. That's absolutely insane. I think, Alex, the numbers held. I think it did more numbers than MSU football's Peach Bowl recap video, which was much better video quality than anything else that the hype video did.
Yeah. No, that is accurate.
I mean, it's kind of nerdy, but it was just absolutely insane that, I mean, obviously, because they made the playoffs is why like that stuff gets buzzed. But that was fun. That was the best thing that came out of this game. And my message to people who don't like Pump It Up, they're probably a boomer, and you just need to learn how to enjoy a song that a team adopts when they have the best season of your lifetime. So I don't care if you hate it and it just says the same 3 words over and over again. You just have to enjoy it. As far as the game, I'm sure there's some sicko Michigan State fans tuning in. And I'm looking at you.
Whoa, okay. That's name.
Whoa. Name drop. Get there.
He's an Ohio State fan.
Yeah, he probably wants to hear what I think about the Orange Bowl.
Before we get there, Cody and I just like agreed that like it would be sweet to go to like a Georgia game. This was before kickoff. Before kickoff because we were in a bar on Broadway. We watched the first half. Doing our bar hopping, and the Georgia fans, when they bark, like they do this chant, they say "Go Dogs," and then they just bark. It's so. I mean, it is weird.
Can you show us your bark?
No, I'm not doing it because it's.
Come on, Grant, do it? Give us a bark.
Do I do it in the bar during the game? Yes.
That feels bad.
It does feel bad.
God, that's embarrassing to think about.
Dude, imagine just being like a
grown-ass man barking.
Imagine a whole stadium doing that during their home games. You could hear it on the TV. They would do it during the kickoffs.
I might be out. I'm going to a Georgia
and they would
game.
say, "Go Dogs," and then they would bark.
No wonder they don't beat Alabama.
Yeah, but it's not like they... I don't know how to describe their bark. It's like a woo-woo-woo kind of like thing, but it's like more of like a bark to it.
Like a woof?
Like a woof, woof, woof.
I mean, look it up, dude. I had to get on the action because it was so stupid, but yeah. Continue. Sorry.
I'm sure Cody was barking it up.
He did, and I did right up in his face. It was so stupid.
But, you know, as the talked all the crap after the Ohio State win, the Iowa win, made them look like a peewee football team. I have to address the butt kicking this game was. Before we get into like the actual what happened, Michigan joins the illustrious club of Florida State, Michigan State, Washington, Notre Dame, and Cincinnati, who have all been to the playoff and done absolutely nothing and just gotten their doors kicked in, which is a pretty rude awakening when you experience it firsthand. The biggest picture takeaway, I would say, from this is, I'm sure you guys will agree, that the Georgia talent level is just another notch above anything Michigan has. I mean, maybe there's 1 or 2 guys from Michigan's team that you could see like getting some minutes on Georgia, but really not that many. And like, it just was eye-opening. It was all the stereotypes of the SEC is just different. Like that's all that stuff.
Down. SEC is different.
That like it means more. It just all came true.
Like the SEC isn't different. It's just 2 teams because the rest of the SEC.
No, that was going to be my next point. It's just
in the bowl games. It's just 2 teams that are above everybody. Facilities, coaching, money, everything.
I don't think LSU's far off either. They just need
correct. LSU's not far off.
Yeah, I mean they are producing incredible NFL talent.
Yeah, and it is, Evan, like, great point, is that I wish I knew the guys had the handle. I didn't save it, but I was reading after the game that about the national championship that 140 of the 170 scholarship players for Georgia and Alabama were either 4 or 5-star recruits out of high school. That's just insane to think about. That's just like a monopoly. Like Apple and Microsoft and Google, like those are Georgia, Alabama, and I guess Clemson still and LSU. Like we'll see how that goes.
Cannot
but like
write off Clemson yet.
No, I know, but they're losing everybody. But just poaching that talent, like those 4 have a monopoly on the talent in college football. It's like every single dude that Georgia put on the field on the 31st looked bigger, stronger, and faster than anyone Michigan had. And like the 2 examples I think of, I tweeted out on our account, was just like seeing Vastardis and Jordan Davis at the coin toss. I said it live to Alex in the moment. Like that is absurd. How it was like the Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram moment and the Sean Oakman Baylor moment where at the coin toss, it's just so different. And then the play that stands out the most, there's a million, but when Nakobe Dean was in man coverage on Corum and just ran across the whole entire field and then tackled him like for a tackle for loss on a swing play was just absurd.
But like in Michigan's defense on that play, I mean, we'll get into it, but like that play should work if that kid across the field isn't a freak of nature.
Yeah.
Like that play will work against 99.9% of the teams that you face and the linebackers that you face. But that is probably one of the only rare instances where that kid is just the best player on the field.
Noah Harvey is not getting to Blake Corum there. Not a chance.
I mean, the GOAT, Cal Holiday's still not making that play.
Van Sumeren might.
Probably
Van
will.
Sumeren might get there and miss the tackle.
Van Sumeren would probably already be there waiting for him.
And still miss the tackle.
Now, the thing is, with all of that being said, which is the main reason everything else I talk about happened is because of the talent. It was one of the sloppier games I've seen Michigan play this year. Like it was a little infuriating as a Michigan fan. It even starts like we watch, the first play of the game for Michigan on offense. Your captain Vastardis false starts. It's like, okay, well that you look like you're going to pee down your pants when something like that happens. And then you have a third down, and you have a nice little tight end delay to Schoonmaker, which we talked about before the game. Tight end delays would be huge in this game. It gets tipped at the line, which happens to Cade all the time, and then Schoonmaker just like misses it. So like just like little plays like that. And then a play I highlighted was quarter 1, 8 minutes and 2 seconds to go in the quarter, 4th and 4 on Georgia's 41 going in. Michigan decides to go for it. It's like 7-0. Kind of a ballsy call. I respect it though. I like being aggressive and going for it. And the play was there. Eric All steps on the guy's toes, runs a 5-yard out. Cade just misses the throw. I mean, I watched Joe Burrow make that throw 5 times against Kansas City. It's just a throw that you have to make in a big game, and he just missed it. So plays like that, like that's just uncharacteristic of what they've done this year. And when stuff like that happens, then the margin for error is so small against a team like Georgia that it just bites you in the ass. And then my other point that I'd like to say before you guys say whatever you want to say about the miscues from Michigan is that I should have known. No, I'm not going to say the point yet. Miscues from Michigan. Tee you guys up for that. It was a sloppy game. It felt like.
You want us to talk about Michigan's miscues?
Yeah, I mean, like from your guys' perspective, like you've seen Michigan a decent enough this year. Like it was one of the sloppier games they've played. I feel. Yeah,
the moment looked too big for them, and I didn't expect that. I thought they would be ready. I thought they'd lose, but I thought they would, play their best, and they played far from their best. They just looked like, they just were not ready for the moment. It was surprising.
I mean, it's definitely tough because like the domination happened to your defense, where you probably thought like, okay, the offense is going to struggle a little bit. Defense will probably hold his own for at least a half, but then like the roles were reversed, where the offense had some success, didn't convert, and the defense they scored on the first 5 possessions. Whether they're field goals or not. I mean, scoring on the first 5 possessions, difficult to recover from. Mm-hmm. Miss assignments, eye discipline on a couple of their scoring drives, the one deep wheel route, and even the scoring play for Bowers. You had your safety looking in the backfield. It looked like it was man-to-man. Hard to believe it was zone. But
I'll give him a pass. I'll give him a pass on the outside zone that was a pass play, because our noted fake play expert Alex, that fooled him even. That was a great fake play by Georgia to get that second touchdown.
Me. It did catch me.
Yes. I mean, that one is just it is what it is.
Alex was in the backfield.
I was. My whole brain was in the backfield. I was stunned when he threw it.
Yeah.
Only other thing I'd say, Vincent Gray and Dalen Baldwin can't see in the lights or just stopped running. I didn't know what was going on.
Controller
Vincent Gray
turned off.
just completely stopped running on a deep bomb. I don't know what he was doing. He was like in good position until the ball was 2 inches away, and then he just stopped. That was embarrassing. Dalen Baldwin, I guess, can't see in the lights. He's never played an outdoor game. Under the lights, even though Friday night lights, you probably played your whole high school career at night. So you should be better than that. You cannot blame something like that in the college football semifinal.
We got Michigan State versus Rocky Lombardi, Vincent Gray in that game. That was tough to watch. But the moment I knew it was going to be bad, when it really, not like kind of jokingly, I'll tell you when I really thought the game was over, because it's almost depressing how long I held on to hope in this game. Alex can attest to that.
Grant was aggressively cheering when they scored. When Andrell Anthony, I think, scored to go down like 34-11 or something, 10.
I knew it was over then. I was just happy they got a touchdown. Was the main thing there.
Grant told me if it was what was the halftime score?
27-3.
I think he said if it got to 27-10, he feels good.
27-17. I was like, okay.
Feels good. I was like, Grant, I don't know how we're even going to get to that point.
I'll get to it now. So it was just depressing and laughable, like how long as a fan it takes to sink in that you're not going to win. Like, for example, I wrote down when it was 17-3, I still felt the game was manageable within Michigan's grasp to get a stop, a score, and then you get the ball back at half to have a chance to make it 17-17. I was like, all right, if it make it 17-10 before half, get the ball, score 17-17, which anyone unbiased who was watching the game was like, Michigan can't score. They're not moving the ball, and they can't stop Georgia's rushing attack. But when you're a fan, like with the emotions running and alcohol in your body, you're like, okay, there's a chance. Just get a pick six. It's like, no, Georgia doesn't do that. But the key, the mojo was, no one told me that Dalvin Cook's brother played for Georgia before this game kicked off.
It's a big miss by you to not know that.
And the fact that we had to deal with another Cook in the Orange Bowl, game was over. I went with the stats. The Cook family versus Michigan in the Orange Bowl, 32 touches, 338 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10 yards per touch against Michigan in the Orange Bowl between Dalvin and James. Unbelievable. They just own Michigan. And also kind of weird the parents named one Dalvin and one James, but that's a different discussion for another day. Go ahead, Alex.
Well, I don't know where you want to go from here. I'm sure you have a lot of lingering thoughts. So
Michigan's personnel was super head scratching. They played Jess Spate, number 67, and Jalen Harrell a lot, who have seen action. I was looking through their game logs. They have appeared in like every game, but they're just not guys you normally see, like Chris Hinton and Mozzie Smith. And I don't know why they were being played as much on early downs. And also, David Ajabo was very quiet. Hutchinson did not have a sack, but he did have quite a few pressures and drew a holding penalty at least, so he did show up in a sense. But Ajabo you didn't even know Ajabo played if you watched the game, to be honest with you. And that's no offense to Ajabo. I love him, but didn't even know he was there.
We're going to talk about Hutchinson. What did we think of him? Evan, what did you think of him?
Well, obviously you're going to see like the highlights on Twitter and like the fans bashing him. He made a couple of decent plays when I was watching. I haven't rewatched the entire game. It's hard to overanalyze because we're a little biased towards Michigan State. And with what Georgia was kind of running, it's kind of hard. They're not a spread team. There's more opportunities. They didn't have to throw the ball 50 times.
They were getting the ball out quick too. They had a lot of they trusted their wide receivers to abuse Michigan's DBs, and I'm sure we've all seen the clip of George Pickens absolutely pancaking Daxton Hill. It was a pretty good strategy to do that.
Nobody on Michigan's team played well, like defensively, so like to overanalyze and pick one kid out. I don't want to be that guy. I'm more of a positive guy now in 2022.
Nashville changed you.
Yep.
3 days in, Evan is staying strong.
Waffle House changed you.
Actually, the Waffle House changed me. I don't think it hurt him that much. There was a couple clips of him actually having a decent pass rush move against their offensive lineman. So, obviously he didn't stay now. He didn't have a sack, but honestly, I don't think anybody was even close to getting a sack. The one move he got pancaked on, he slipped and fell since the bed scrambled. Georgia's left guard had no idea what was going on, and like Stetson Bennett like scrambled. I think Hutchinson slipped and fell, caught him off guard. So whoever had a free rush at Stetson Bennett actually should have made the sack in that play.
And also, speaking of Bennett, I feel lied to by Evan, co-host Evan.
He's much better than you said, Evan.
The dagger of the game was a absolute dime he threw to James Cook on a one-on-one route versus Junior Colson on 3rd and 3. I thought it was like kind of like the play, like the shot, the dagger, like I said, of the game. It was 17-3, 3rd and 3, get a stop. They have to punt, get a chance to make it 17-10. An absolute dime on a go route. I was told he couldn't throw outside the numbers, and he absolutely dropped it in the bucket outside the numbers. Evan?
Feels bad, you know. He played one of his best games of his career in the semifinal game. You know, when you're not getting pressure, not getting hands in his face, he's a little undersized. I think it's easier. And then, I mean, all in all, their defensive backs didn't play well. So when you know that you don't have the risk, or there's probably zero risk of throwing this deep ball, when you're playing with your team's playing with that much confidence, I think it's just a lot easier to throw. It's not under pressure. You know, if it's incomplete pass, so what? We'll probably pick up a first down in a couple plays anyways. But he did make some good throws.
He did.
I did joke to Cody, because Mint Money's a JT Daniels hater. I did say right after they kicked off and Georgia got like the first kickoff, I said, you know, if JT Daniels was playing, they probably would have already scored. And the offense hasn't even been out on the field yet. So he's just like a game manager. He just executes the offense well. So
this will be the segment I call Say Something Nice About Cade McNamara. He had a nice deep ball to Roman Wilson on a go route, and that provided a little bit of hope for him.
He had a good scramble on the first drive.
The first play, the first real play from scrimmage. He did. He had the wheels.
He's tough. I saw him get absolutely pancaked by Jordan Davis a couple times, and he like got up a little bit slow, but you know, got right back into the huddle.
The amount of times I saw Alex flinch sitting next to him when J.J. McCarthy took a shot from the Georgia player.
Getting crushed. What was he doing?
No sliding.
Slide. He got murdered a couple times. Just popped right up. But yeah, it was surprising.
I feel comfortable saying this now, looking back. I think Michigan shouldn't have abandoned the run as much. I know they wouldn't have won the game still, but I think it at least would have made it closer cosmetically, which would have felt better. Because it's surprising to read that Edwards and Haskin each averaged 4 yards per carry. Combine them together, they had like 13 carries for 55 yards. Like, they were falling forward. They were getting stopped for 0 yards and negative yards. And the craziest thing, Evan, I said to Alex, because I knew this stat going in, the Georgia was able to force the first tackle rush for negative yards that Michigan had all season. They had never had a tackle for loss against them all season, and Jordan Davis just went and did that himself. So, yes, Georgia did stop the run, but it was surprising to see that they each had 4 yards per carry. It looked like Haskins did get banged up in this game, but it would have been nice for them to like maybe just pound the ball a little bit more, even when you're down. It's kind of sad to do that, but I think abandoning the runs is kind of tough and not their MO. So, I don't know how I feel about that. And then obviously the main lingering takeaways I have from this game is where we'll kind of close it up here, is that it seems like, at least on Michigan Twitter, that there's a QB, I wouldn't call it controversy. Many people I saw said JJ is for sure the number one starter this next year. And we'll get into it more when we do the season wrap up and previewing for next year. But like, I don't know if I feel that way 100%, but something is going to happen in the offseason with these two. And I don't know what it is. And I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are, since you're not blinded by being a Michigan fan, I guess.
I think it's JJ's job to lose. I think Cade will probably be the starter in the spring if he stays around, and I think they'll have a competition. But yeah, I would be surprised if JJ doesn't start the first game. Whether that's correct or not, I would be surprised if he doesn't start.
I think it's a little overreaction for Michigan fans to overanalyze. Obviously, in the biggest game, he didn't play his best, but he got you there. With few mistakes throughout the entire year, and he played well. I mean, yes, he is facing the best defense in the country, and you would like him to play better, but I think it's just like, I think it's going to be an open competition. I don't think Harbaugh's going to hand it over to anybody, and I expect McNamara and JJ to both stay, because they probably both think they have a chance to be the starter.
Yeah, I'd say they probably don't know. So
yeah, it's probably an open competition from spring to summer and into the fall. So I'm
just
sure
hope
one
it
of them
doesn't
might
turn
get
into a 2.
Yeah,
situation.
I'm sure one of them will probably get upset or pissed if they do the same thing that they did this year, where they're rotating guys.
if you're one of those sickos that is predicting a transfer and wants Cade to leave, the storyline of him going to Nevada to replace Carson Strong, because that's his home state, makes a lot of sense. And
Wow.
Notre Dame
It's quite the drop off, man.
recruited Cade Hart out of college. He was a Notre Dame commit, and they just lost Jack Cohn. I don't know who they have coming in, but those would be good.
Nevada would be terrible. That would say a lot.
I don't know what'll happen, but
You guys
I really
want to hear? Want a trivia question before we go to the next one?
love trivia.
All right. Michigan has played in 8 BCS/New Year's Six games,
I don't even care the answer.
including the semifinal. Can you name the wins and how many?
We dusted Florida with Jake Rudock.
That was not a New Year's Six game, Grant.
Should have been.
Since when?
That was this in the whole BCS New Year's Six era. So that's like 1998 to now.
We were beating Alabama at halftime. That counts as a win in my book.
BCS. How many wins do they have?
I can't
0?
tell you. That's part of the trivia question.
No, they beat Virginia Tech in the Sugar Bowl.
There's
in
one.
2012, that would have been the bowl game. 2011 football year.
BCS
2012.
and New Year's Six is probably one.
2012 Sugar. There's 2.
And they won the Orange Bowl. No, yeah, they beat Alabama and Sean Alexander in the 2000.
Evans trivia remains undefeated. 2000 Orange Bowl against Alabama.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
And then a lot of L's. 3
Okay,
Rose
so
Bowl losses.
2 things to close up. I wrote, just for Michigan fans that think about going into the offseason, what is missing from this team, obviously, as you watch Georgia to get to that level? Going to need an elite QB. I know they don't have one. They have Stetson Bennett, but I don't think Michigan will ever match that recruiting profile to have all the other guys be so good. So you're going to need an elite QB. You're going to need a game-changing QB. You're going to need much better dominant D-line play when it comes to the run, because you had the pass rushers this year, but you got carved up by Michigan State and you got carved up by Georgia. So you're going to need dominant rush defensive linemen. And then I think after what I saw, you're going to need really good linebackers. You're going to need guys that can fly around and stop the run as well. And then your skill players, obviously, they got to be good too. I also love the offseason narrative. I told Alex it was going to start right away, and it did. It was on cue. I just love how predictable it is of McCarthy, Edwards, Andrew Anthony, Corum, soaking in the loss and lingering out there and watching the Georgia players celebrate to motivate them for next season. That's just a tale as old as time. And then a little trivia for you guys, a little history for you guys. Did some digging here. What if this is a parallel from MSU's loss to Alabama in the Capital One Bowl in 2010, 49-7 drubbing? They realized what they needed to get to, and they won 4 straight bowl games after that. Maybe that's in store for the Harbaugh Wolverines.
I think that's a terrible comparison.
Or another comparison, they go 3-9 after they lose
that's
in the
where
playoffs.
I thought you were going.
There's no chance Michigan goes 3-9 next year. There's way too much talent coming back, so that won't happen. I like the Capital One Bowl theory. See the mountaintop.
You weren't playing in the Capital One Bowl.
That
You were playing in
Alabama
the
team was the
semifinal.
greatest Alabama team of all time.
The one we played in the Capital One Bowl was very good.
Evan, I don't know about race of all time.
Go look at that roster. They had Julio Jones and Mark Ingram. It's because they lost 1 game to Cam Newton. And they be like, oh, you know what? Capital One Bowl. Here we go.
I'll have to do my deep digging in the Alabama rosters. Let's transition to the Peach Bowl, which you've heard about from Evan's trip, but you didn't hear about the game. So I'll tee you guys up for who wants to start with your takeaways from an 11-2 season? Is that right?
I want to start with a trivia question.
I love it. Bring it on.
Can you name how many 11-win seasons the 2 in-state programs have had since 20?
Why compare?
Michigan State 6, Michigan 2.
Why compare?
Just making sure people are aware of the programs in the state, Graham, because we are unbiased and I need to report the facts.
Also, bowl games outside of the playoffs don't matter anymore. So,
Whoa.
Just so you know,
Whoa.
the 6 times that Michigan State has won 11 games, that is 5th in the nation.
Go tell Dan Leach to
2010.
go delete his tweets from 2015, that fraud. Shoot him into the sun.
Said we were the worst program in the country behind Kansas.
No, Dan Leach also said back in 2015 he would rather win the Citrus Bowl than lose in the playoffs.
I wonder if he still feels that
And
way.
then he re-asked that question and said, how are you feeling? Which one was better? And he was basically saying, I'd rather be in the playoffs than a meaningless Peach Bowl. But he wasn't saying that in 2015.
Yeah, he's a loser.
That says a lot.
I wouldn't even have Dan Leach on this show. That's how much I think of him. Or a little I think of him.
Yeah, shoot him into the sun.
Could you name the 4 programs ahead of Michigan State? Super fast.
Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and probably Georgia.
No.
Oklahoma.
Georgia. Yeah, Oklahoma. Correct. Great job, Evan.
Thanks, man.
Trivia undefeated. All right, I'm going to start with the fact that the running backs without not named Kenneth Walker because he did not play did not look very good. Evan, thoughts?
It was sad to see Jordan Simmons get the first handoff.
And run straight in a line into the back of a lineman.
I mean, that's what he usually does. If he goes outside, he's going to fumble it because he can't take contact. I would
Transfer
like
portal's
to
waiting
see.
for him.
I would like to see
boy.
Joyner and Collins play more.
Collins
Just because
didn't
it
get a lot
is
of
the
touches.
bowl game. I understand that. I just don't understand why.
Did Harold Joyner pay you $20 to talk nice about him this season or something?
I don't think he's
just
that
a
bad.
big body
He's a
guy.
good
He
athlete.
got recruited by Michigan State, got recruited by the SEC, went to Auburn, wasn't getting play behind Tank, and so he came back. He's just like physically bigger.
We
It's
have
like
to unlock
Haskins and
his
Corum.
ability.
It's like you look at Haskins and be like, okay, this dude is a running back. You look at Corum, he's like, you know what? Hopefully hangs in there. Then you look at Joyner, and you're like, this dude is a running back. You look at Simmons, you're like,
This guy
have fun on
sucks.
special teams, man. Like, I don't know why you're
Transfer
getting like 10
portal is waiting
handoffs.
for him.
In fairness, it's a Pat Narduzzi run defense, so they are going to stop the run at all costs.
Yeah.
So, like, give or take there. Don't be Ryan, my father, just saying that the entire offensive line is terrible and that, like, our offensive line coach is terrible and he wishes he would have went to USC because of the Peach Bowl performance.
I like that narrative, though. That's fun.
Super ridiculous.
That gets clicks. That gets clicks.
And he said our run game will be nothing now that Kenneth Walker is gone. But he did compliment Kenneth Walker, said he was the best one in the country. So, give or take, Ryan, give or take.
Well, it's until they prove it. I'm declaring Michigan State's running game gone until it's proven otherwise without Kenneth Walker.
Jesus Christ.
It's gonna hurt.
That's the most
It's
dramatic
gonna
thing I've ever
hurt.
heard.
Now, Jalen Berger might be sweet.
I hope
Anyone
he
else you bring in might be sweet. Cole Cabana may be sweet, but until it happens, it's dead. It's gone.
What if they bring in Lou Nichols and he goes in the portal from Central and we just bring in the number 1 rusher in the country?
I'll be higher on it, but
Or
right now
the Wake
it's dead.
Forest running back that started over Kenneth Walker who entered the transfer portal today.
Would be huge if they brought him in. But right now, it's dead.
Or Trey Citizen, the 4-star
Overreaction.
athlete.
Overreaction Monday.
All right, next question, Evan, I have for you.
Okay.
Peyton Thorne through the first 3 quarters, was it as bad as it looked on television in person?
No.
He looked bad for a little bit there. Really struggling. Couldn't make little 5-yard outs.
Yeah. In the stands, I wouldn't say the fans were blaming Thorne. I think it was more frustration totally on the entire offense. Obviously, he had the strip sack fumble that led to a touchdown. He wasn't
bad
knocked
interception.
down. He was
Small
knocked down
hands.
that time. Yet the bad interception was a clear just, I'm going to stare down this guy and cover 2, and then corner ran with him, safety jumped it. He obviously made some good throws. His completion percentage wasn't that good. I think it was just above 50%. But when you have no run game, you have no balance. I think it's difficult. Those middle parts of the games, I think it was more frustration on the entire offense. But we also were moving the ball and then would stall out. We moved the ball, missed a field goal. So
I would just like to say
Don't say it.
thank you for your service, Matt Coughlin.
You don't mean it.
I'll see you at Rick's.
Looking forward to the future.
I want it on the record that when I was super, super belligerent at Rick's one night after a big Michigan State win, and I
You
told
geeked out over Coughlin.
Coughlin to his face, "You're a great kicker, man," and I pointed and touched his chest. You're
You
a great
jinxed
kicker,
him
man.
ever since that moment.
I take it back. I don't mean it. He stinks.
He's horrible. I
He's
don't want to
atrocious.
bash him, but he's really terrible. 33 yards, Evan.
Congrats on the marriage. I hope it goes great.
Yeah, congrats on getting married. You don't have an NFL career. So I hope you
inside
have a job lined up.
sources, inside Coughlin's inner circle, rumor has it he is still injured from earlier in the season because he's not finishing his kicks with his hip flexor injury.
I agree with that though. He looks so like passive when he kicks. So yeah, you know what? I take back my diss. I think he is playing injured. If you got this far, Matt, don't hate me.
He is playing injured because he wasn't doing the kickoffs. We had the elder kid kicking off, and I watched that elder kid kick off during warmups, and let's just say I watched him kick 6 times, and I think he made one of them.
Oh.
Okay, that's why we have a 5-star kicker coming in. Congrats, you have the job.
You guys need PFT commenter to come in and solve this problem.
Hey, he said he's automatic from 40 yards, and that 33-yarder would have went through the ups, right? I just know it.
Can we give a quick clap for Nick Patty? That kid laid it all on the line in the Peach Bowl.
That one drive. Two drives.
Guys opting out in this soft era. The dude threw his shoulder on the line to hit the pylon, and he just really balled out. And I honestly think it's a lot. It was a close game, but it would have been probably overtime if Nick Patty stays in that thing. The kid was balling.
Maybe.
He was. Defense played really well, though. I mean, the game would probably change if their third-string quarterback wasn't in.
5 sacks. I wrote down, watch out for MSU's D-line next year, but they are losing Panishuk, and Beasley, so that could hurt.
Panishuk, Beasley, Jordan.
5
but
sacks,
we are bringing in transfers.
Alex Van Sumeren.
Quicker. So
Chris Bogle, Jacoby Windman, Aaron Brule.
Rashawn Benny.
Windman's a linebacker, bro.
Yeah, but he's going to be coming off the edge on stand-up edge rusher stuff, and Grant's going to lose his mind over it.
Linebacker.
Next question,
if you guys stand up edge rush, I might become an MSU fan.
You'll see.
Grant did admit to me during the semifinal that he does not hate Michigan State anymore. He basically said he likes them and he's going to cheer for them forever. So
no, said when Michigan.
We appreciate you, Grant.
Welcome to the good side.
All right, we can play this.
Next question, Jaden Reed. How good?
Gone. He's gone.
I think he comes back.
He's going to the draft.
There's rumblings he's coming back.
Did you see the deleted tweet?
Yes,
from Michigan State football yesterday.
The legacy continued, and it was a picture of Jaden Reed, and then they deleted it.
It was a whole video about the number 1 jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I watched the entire video before it got deleted. I didn't even know it got deleted.
You got push notifications on for that account?
Yes.
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Jersey uniform reveals?
Yes.
Oh, we're losers.
Hey, so yeah, I think he's going to come back.
I don't know.
But how good is he, Evan? How far could he take us next year, just as being the guy?
11-2.
Wow, that good.
No chance. There's no running attack until proven otherwise.
Enough.
You have a number 1 athlete on the field. You have a number 1 wide receiver that everybody has to account for. Electric and punt returning. I mean, it's just a guy that 50-50 balls. You always have to have a safety over top. Unless you want to do 50-50 chance, and I like our chances when he's up there.
In 3 of the 4 biggest games, Jaden Reed has mossed his one-on-one defender several times for touchdowns.
Jaden Reed is really good.
Grant, you have to like him now that you're a Michigan State fan.
I told you that he's really good. And there's no he's incredible. He's a great wide receiver.
I think he should leave. I don't
his
know,
stock
much
is not going to get
higher.
higher.
That's my thing, but also I don't know. People always say this every single year, but next year's wide receiver class is going to be as strong, and then then next year happens, and the wide receiver class is just as strong. But you look at the names in this wide receiver class, it's pretty deep.
It's a deep class.
But look in the NFL now, and more spread, COVID, and so I think people would probably risk getting as many athletes on their team as possible, and he always benefits from being a punt returner.
I just also think this was breaking as we came onto the show essentially, and I was not prepared for Naylor to leave. I didn't know his status. I just already booked him in for having to deal with him next year as a Michigan fan.
There were rumors he was leaving.
When you're Jaden Reed and you're better than Naylor, and no disrespect to Naylor, Jaden Reed's a better player. When you see him leave, you're like, I'm going to go get that bag too. That's what I think. Maybe he was thinking about coming back, but you see Naylor leave. How does Jaden Reed stay?
I mean, Naylor's a senior.
He played high school football.
Basically.
He played high school football with Payne Thorne. I get it. I get that connection. I don't know what it's like. I've never made a D1 with my high school teammate, but I can see why maybe you want to run it back one more time. Payne
You just don't want him to come back, and you're just kind of projecting that on the podcast.
No, Well, I don't want him to come back. I want him to get that bag because I want his future success.
You want
But,
Michigan State to stink.
And honestly, it's like how, but the point remains objectively, like how do you watch Naylor go pro and not go pro yourself when you know you're better?
Because he loves college and he wants to win a championship for Mel Tucker.
Like Kenneth Walker was most important to that team, but Reed, like, and I was completely joking. I want that on the record in our group chat when I said Peyton Thorne's mid without him. But there is a question in my mind, a burning question for next year is what does Thorne look like if he were to lose Naylor and Reed? Because as funny as the meme is, like Jalen Reed down there somewhere, that was true. Like that happened a lot this year where you just chucked it up and it was a good ball, but Jalen Reed mossed somebody and made a good play, and that they're going to need to find that guy if that does happen. I
think if he were to leave, there will be a lot of questions at wide receiver, but I think the talent is there. It's just whether or not they can take coaching and become better. Keon Coleman has all the tools.
You have to take Tuck's coaching. How would you not take Tuck's coaching?
Also, breaking news: Dylan Gabriel just announced he's going to Oklahoma. So
I'm so tired of transfer QBs. Different discussion.
He decommitted from wherever he was, and he said
committed to UCLA.
Yeah, he's going to Oklahoma now.
Really?
Yeah.
Cal Haladay is a legend. My favorite player at Michigan State.
Rick No Flare Drip. Gotta love that guy.
So good. The fact that he pointed to the heavens on the 35-yard line going in when he's the slowest dude on the field is just like warms my heart.
Slow. Come on.
He's slower than Simeon Barrow. I'll promise you that. No, 100% he is.
Shout out Simeon Barrow for playing too.
Evan looks like he just got broken up with by somebody.
The Dylan Gabriel thing.
Dylan Gabriel. No,
it's
just mind blowing. It just. Yeah, it's free agency.
I forget that you have an allegiance to UCLA through NCAA Football 14.
I absolutely 100% do.
Trivia.
Yeah, I love trivia.
Do you guys know the record of Michigan State the last time they won a bowl game against backup quarterbacks that you guys got super excited about?
We went 7-6 the next year.
Boom. Evan nailed it. Not saying that's going to happen. Just saying if history does repeat itself, that's what's going to happen.
What was that game?
Washington State. In the Holiday Bowl.
I remember being at Alex's living room, and you guys were just going crazy with your Boulevard Market apps. And I was like, you got Boulevard Market apps for this game? Like, this game is going to be a blowout. They don't even have their best player.
The difference of that game, it wasn't really about who we were playing. It was about the fact we went 3-9. We had a chance to win 10 games the next year, and then everyone could say Mark was back and he knew what he was doing, which he didn't. And so that was just the moment was different, not necessarily the opponent. I wouldn't compare these two at all.
I would.
Mel Tucker is rising. Mark D'Antonio was declining. Recruiting is rising. Recruiting was declining. There's a big difference in these two scenarios. Huge. One was the Holiday Bowl on the December 27th. No one watched. And then the other was a New Year's 6 Peach Bowl.
Whoa, Gus Johnson and Joe Klatt called that game on Fox. Come on,
it was Fox's first Holiday Bowl.
I feel old now.
This is not comparable.
What are you guys? Any lingering takeaways from the Peach Bowl?
I wrote the D-line looked good. I wrote down Marquis Lowry, your boy, played. I think he started. So
that's just a footnote. That's a footnote in a game dominated by Cal Haladay.
Just your guy. So I just wanted you to know that. And yeah, that's about it.
I mean, probably like a top 15 catch I've seen live from Naylor.
That was nice. Really
the
nice
level of difficulty on that play is like super absurd.
Also dropped one.
Also crazy that the Peach Bowl, the Benz, had a camera in the ceiling that caught that and the Peach Bowl tweeted it out. That was absurd.
It was awesome. I'm glad sure you guys have that video in my life now.
I'm sure you guys have watched that like 20 times. I've watched it like 5. It's an unbelievable angle. But now I guess briefly, I think people do love our take on the national scene, and we just watched Georgia dominate Michigan. National championship predictions coming up on the 10th. I will say this. I'm much more invested in this game after seeing Georgia up close and personal. I still haven't watched like a full-length Alabama game all year. I've seen decent chunks of some of their games. So, but after you get to know these players, it's just weird. I don't know how you guys feel, but like after watching the way Georgia played and what they look like, it's stunning that they lost as bad as they did to Alabama. I didn't realize how great they were. And it's also mind-blowing that like it is, but it isn't. Mind blowing that Alabama is underdogs again. Like they just dusted this team, and now they're +3. And it's like I don't know what to think about this game. I'm curious how you guys are viewing this national championship game. Evan never barks alone, so I have a feeling I know where he's
never
going.
bark alone. It will be interesting how Georgia adjusts the second time they face them, because clearly they stopped the run. And Cincinnati kind of was playing a 3-3 stacked, where people are like, oh my gosh, Alabama's just going to run the ball down their throat. But every offensive coordinator loves passing. And I would say, like, Cincinnati letting Alabama run the ball down their throat just kept them in the game more. Yes, Cincinnati has 2 elite corners and probably can play in the NFL. One's going to be a first-round pick. But you expect that to be on Georgia's side, too. It's just a matter of fact, is Georgia going to give up numbers in the box to defend the pass? Because Bryce Young carved him up last time. And it's a chess match. No matchy this time. It's a chess match between Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. His assistants never beat him. Kind of interesting because the game's in Indianapolis, so not really any like home
Probably
field advantage.
Split,
Last time they played a national championship game, the game was in Atlanta, so you'd probably see more Georgia fans, but probably split. And then it's just like who. I don't think it's going to be like the blowout that we saw in the SEC championship game. I think Georgia's a little angry now. I expect them to play better. I think it's actually going to be pretty close, but I don't understand why Georgia's favored. But I do like Georgia in it. I just don't understand why they're favored.
Yeah, I love Georgia in the bounce back. Love them.
It's breaking my brain. Alex, you love them?
I don't know if I love them, but it's just so hard to go against like Nick Saban.
I'm getting Alabama LSU vibes rematch championship, but this time it's against Nick Saban. Which the only slight hesitation I have is Nick Saban. But if there was any other head coach and all the same things happened, I would hammer Georgia.
Alabama didn't win both those?
No, Alabama lost 9-6 in Tuscaloosa to Tyrann Mathieu.
Called it the game of the year or game of the decade, and then they lost. Then they won the championship.
You must be admitting that Michigan's a pretty good ball club, Alex, if you're that impressed by Georgia, by what they did.
I've been impressed by Georgia all season. I think the SEC championship game, I don't know what happened. I don't know. But I think without Mechie, they've played him now, so they should have plenty of film to get it right. They lost once in the national championship game to them. I don't see it happening again. I just feel like Georgia's defense is super pissed off after the SEC championship game where they sucked. And I think they're going to play a lot better the second time around. And I think Stetson Bennett is way better than I realized. And he wasn't the reason they lost the first time. So
he did throw 6 in the fourth quarter.
That didn't matter.
I will lead us off with predictions for this. I'm going to go 30-27 Alabama, strictly because I will not go against Saban against Kirby Smart until it happens. And I feel bad about it. Like, my gut says Georgia. You watch them, Grant. But Bryce Young won the Heisman for a reason. 30-27, tied. Hard to go back-to-back, though. Alabama's never gone back-to-back.
I'm going to go...
It's actually Bill Belichick's turn to win a Super Bowl. If
no.
Saban, they go alternate every year.
Zach Taylor.
Mike Vrabel.
Thanks for reading that.
I'm going to go Georgia.
Woof, woof.
Yeah. They don't say bark, but they bark. I'm going to say Georgia, similar score to Grant. I'm going to say Georgia 32-28.
31-21. Barks. Late touchdown.
Interesting. So on the 30-20 range, I like it. It'd be a good game. Be a really good game. 144 5 stars.
I think no Mechie is a big problem for Alabama. I mean, Cincinnati was in that for quite a while. Not really, but like it wasn't a blowout.
Evan, this is also a debate Alex and I had. I think it's like super obvious. If Tom Brady started for Michigan in the Orange Bowl, they win that game easily.
Well, that wasn't the question live. Michigan was down like 24 points, and we said if Tom Brady came in right now, would they come back?
No, I thought it was like 17-3, and I was like, if Tom Brady came in, I think they win.
No, you were kind of not thinking that because they're Michigan's defense.
I was confused. Yeah, I was like, they're never going to get a stop.
You
but
didn't
like, Tom
really give an answer, actually. Now that I think about it,
I'm curious what Evan thinks. Like, is Tom Brady that good?
Yeah,
if he started the game,
greatest
Michigan
quarterback
wins.
of all time.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I think he would. I think it's that big of a difference. This is a stupid debate.
Because
but
he
I
would
just,
call his own offense, and he would just be surgical across the field.
If he started the game, Michigan would win easily.
If it came in the second half, they would have definitely scored like 21 points in the second half.
But would it have been enough? I don't know.
well, based on what happened, no, because they ended up scoring 34.
Yeah.
34-11 feels so much better than 34-3. I know how dumb that sounds, but that is how I feel.
Sad field goal alert. Sad touchdown alert.
Huddle mentality.
I told Alex, I pray to God Jim does not kick a sad field goal in this game because it'd be so embarrassing, and thank God they didn't. And now, yeah, folks, you already guessed this is going to be a longer one, right? Because the boys are having fun. College basketball now, Michigan versus MSU preview. I do not want to overlook Nebraska and Rutgers, which I believe our teams play midweek, but you guys can overlook Nebraska and be fine. Michigan cannot overlook Rutgers because the storyline going into this game, I don't think there's a FanDuel line out yet because that'd be way too far in advance. But if we're playing guess the number, it's at Chrysler. Chrysler's not much of a home advantage. I was going to be Michigan
loud.
State. Now, Michigan State was only favored by what? A 1.5 against Northwestern. So maybe it's going to be a pick 'em. But
I think it was
Northwestern is pretty good.
But if I had to, like, if someone's like, Grant, what's the line? You're a bookie. I'd be like, Michigan State at least 5.5, 6.5, like in this game. I don't see
like
how
a lot.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I don't see how Michigan wins this game. I don't have an answer for you,
I
unless they just get stupid hot from three.
think it's possible, but
And it might have been gross the way you guys won, but Michigan State pulling that game out in years past, like last year when I watched them lose it makes me feel even better about Michigan State. Like, they winning games gross, your favorite thing ever, Alex. Like when a team wins but they look bad. Oh, at least they still won playing bad. That's a good thing. That's a good sign for the future.
no, I don't think Northwestern's that bad either. I mean, I think they're going to be a decent team in the Big Ten this year.
So I want Evan, you can start and then go, Alex. Let's do it this way. Like, you guys are Michigan State fans. Let Michigan fans know what they're going to see from this Michigan State team on Saturday. What's the scouting report?
Scouting report. We do have depth, a little bit more depth than I think Michigan does coming off the bench. We're thin at post players. Foul trouble can hurt us at times if we get thin there. Sissoko's not developing as fast. He did get minutes against High Point, and he looked terrible at times. So we're just two guys down low.
Whoa, that's my guy.
Good at times.
He's
He's not going to play in this game
playable at times.
unless he has to.
Gabe Brown over the last 5 games, I think, is averaging 17.5 points. Joey Hauser over the last 5 games, close to averaging a double-double. He was the highest plus-minus last game against Northwestern. People forget. Quit playing blame on one player when it's a team effort.
That felt personal.
It does, because Michigan State fans are idiots.
Including Alex. Sounds like.
Just because I don't like Joey Hauser doesn't mean I don't realize what he does good.
Turnovers are obviously the big key. Tyson Walker has developed a little bit of a game. He didn't play well against Northwestern, but that's okay. He plays well defensively. But also the Northwestern game in the second half was unbearable, and almost at times you couldn't watch it. It was the most unwatchable, long-lasting January 2nd game that was meaningless to
36 second half fouls.
There was no point for the game to drag on that much, and they barely called any fouls in the first half.
Yeah,
I
it was
don't
12 in the first half, 36 in the second half.
It's just a matter if we have enough days off for rest, if our guys from COVID are 100%, because you saw Bingham a little bit winded against Northwestern. He was tapping out before his 4-minute play, 4 minutes. He was kind of tapping out around 3. I do like the matchups. Like, your guards are younger, we're more experienced. It's just a matter of turnovers, and then I hate to say it, but it's down to Dickinson and Bingham.
I wrote that down.
If Dickinson can have his way down low, foul trouble, or if Bingham struggles against him. But I think Bingham now has more of an offensive game where he can step out and hit a 12-foot jump shot now, which would be nice to see. And then we just need to shoot better from three because we were 1 for 10 in the first half with a lot of air balls.
Yeah, we didn't shoot too well off the little COVID game.
Yeah, and we only have 2-day rest in between. Well, Sunday we have 2-day rest. We play on Wednesday, 2-day rest. We have to travel to Chrysler.
At least it's home on Wednesday.
Yes.
Michigan State's going to run in transition. They're going to turn the ball over a bunch.
I think that's the key. I think transition is the key to the game.
Yeah.
Is with most Michigan State games, like you saw it with Northwestern a little bit, is like whenever this year, if you can make Michigan State have to grind it out in the half court, that's like when all their most teams turn the ball over in transition. Michigan State turns it over in the half court more often than not.
Yeah.
Like making them grind out the shot clock would be to Michigan's advantage. I don't think they're going to do great in transition defense.
I don't even know who Michigan starters are.
Also,
we'll get to that, Evan, because I'm going to lay out why they're so bad so far.
Oh, okay.
The only other point off of what Evan was saying, defensively, Michigan State is very solid so far this season. Bingham inside, down low, block-wise is very important. So if Bingham were to get in foul trouble, kind of lose that anchor in the defense. And then lastly, Max Christie's perimeter defense is extremely crucial. When he was out, I know it was against High Point, but the defense struggled mightily on the perimeter without him. Hogard and Tyson Walker kind of get blown off the ball sometimes. Mainly Hogard.
Because Hogard doesn't move his feet, and then when he gets
just
beat,
bodies, and then he fouls.
and then he gets a foul called, and then he has to blame it on somebody else, or he puts his hands up, and it's the most infuriating thing of all time.
Hogard might be the most infuriating player of all time, where he just shows flashes of how he can be very good.
He's the trickiest player in college basketball.
So bad other times. Like yesterday, with like 4 minutes left, he tried to go one-on-one. He's just crossing over in front over and over and turn the ball over. I'm like, what are you doing? I don't get it.
He also he traveled the first time he touched the ball in the game. Just a pass up top to him, like an inbounds pass. Shuffle his feet before he takes the dribble.
But then against UConn, it helps the team go on a 9-0 run and win the game.
I mean, Hogard did have an and one late in the game to kind of shift momentum changes.
He's all over the place.
He's got bad tunnel vision. He's just like puts his head down and only sees like a little scone.
Yeah,
really good.
Like, remember
really
the
bad.
Madden? Remember the Madden where they like
QB vision?
Yeah, like Hogard's is like when he like looks at the court.
We make some great passes sometimes.
Sometimes, so a lot of times he puts his head down, and then you'd like, okay, how do you end up there?
Better than people think, though.
I don't have to apologize. Like I don't have to apologize, but I will because I said it to Alex. Well, it's not a full apology. It's just like an acknowledgement of Gabe Brown is making the senior leap that I was doubtful he would make. I was skeptical of it because like a lot of times I had seen him, watched him throughout his years, and like, okay, like this guy's a good like streaky shooter, but I don't think he's a guy you're relying on. And it turns out he's made the jump and has much more of like a well-rounded game. And as it stands right now, as it goes, shooting 39.8% from three, basically 40% on 6.3 attempts per game, 15 points per game, anchoring the offense. It's a jump that I did not see. And honestly, like that, I think is the biggest reason offensively they're having such success because I've seen the flashes in person of Christie, but that is one thing. I'm very curious to see how Christie and Houston played against each other in this game. I think we'll learn a lot about the freshmen, like in their premier matchup. I mean, both these teams have played massive games so far this year, so it's not like, I don't know, but just like the rivalry kind of hits a little bit different, as the kids say, when you play. You just want to see what it looks like. For Michigan State fans, this is not the Michigan team you saw last year. I think like this is long overdue, but football season's been so big, but now we have to turn our attentions to it. I told you, if people remember, in our brief season preview of basketball, that my biggest concern is like Michigan's grit and leadership and who is going to like be the alpha on this team. And I think we're seeing like that to me stands out the most of like the lack of killer instinct they have and just replacing the amount of talent they lost, which in the moment I didn't realize was such crucial talent. Like if we just look at the lineups briefly here, last year they trotted out Mike Smith, Eli Brooks, Franz Wagner, Isaiah Livers, and Dickinson. Okay. And then this year, a lot of their lineups it's Eli Brooks, Devontae Jones, Houston, Musa Diabite, and Dickinson. So just like a different looking lineup, not as much skill, not as much 3-point shooting. And then also you just think about, and you go back to a guy that is a perfect example of the difference between this year and last year in Michigan basketball is Alex's guy, Sean D. Brown. Like, there's just no alpha dog. There's no like, yeah, just grit, just defensive 3-and-D guy off the bench. Like, just that whole like leader alpha mentality between Livers and Wagner is completely gone. We see in the NBA now the talent that Wagner had that we just I took for granted. You know, people made fun of him after the UCLA loss. He had a bad shot, but like the kid clearly was a very talented player. I think I've come around. In the beginning, I was like, all right, everyone's crapping on their defense. And I was like, I don't think the defense is that much of a problem. It is. It's definitely a problem. If we look on KenPom, which is like the kind of analytical metric that everyone uses as the Bible in college basketball, it could be a good game because Michigan State sits at 18 in KenPom and Michigan sits at 21. Michigan State has the 22nd offense and 21st defense, so very well rounded out of Michigan State. Michigan has the 20th offense but 43rd defense, and the defense, I guess, is what you would say is costing them some of these games. They have played pretty solid teams, but when you look at the stats, like comparing this team to last year, you have a single player on your team shooting 40% or better from three that takes like 2 or more a game, and that's Devontae Jones, who's not billed as the 3-point shooter on the team. He's shooting 46%, which is like kind of an aberration because he doesn't shoot that many, but he's been hot of late. Eli Brooks has climbed down to 36. Terrence Williams shooting 36. Caleb Houston, who was supposed to be the sharpshooter, you expect that kid to shoot 40%, shooting 34% from three. And then you look at last year, you had Livers shooting 43%, Sean D. Brown 42%, Mike Smith 42%, Eli Brooks 40%. I mean, even Brandon Johns 37%. Like, the shooting on this team, they're just not good shooters. Like, I know, perfect example, when you guys see Gabe Brown catch a wide open shot on the arc, are you expecting it to go in?
Yes.
There's not a single player on Michigan's team that I expected to go in when they catch it wide open. Maybe Eli Brooks, but that's it. There's like, you see it and it's like, oh, it's going to be a miss. Let's see if we can get the long rebound. They don't make shots. So when you see wide open shots, now, obviously in a microcosm of a game, maybe Caleb Houston, he's shown flashes where he can go like 3 or 4 from deep on a night. But I'm not expecting it to happen. And then also the biggest thing, I guess, besides the shooting, like we talked about the defense, like just think about asking freshman Caleb Houston to come in and basically replace Franz Wagner, his defense, his like length. That's just not going to happen. They're not built the same. And outside of that, analytically, Michigan runs into this problem where they've been trying to fix it, but they just play like 3 basically power forwards at a time. Because to be honest, when Caleb Houston, he's like 6'9", when he's shooting 34% from 3, he's basically a power forward. He's not helping you stretch the floor because he's not shooting well. So you're playing him, Diabite, and Dickinson out there together with 2 guards, and it just clogs up the floor. And then Dickinson gets suffered because they can just collapse on him. So what's been working better is when they just do Dickinson out there and then basically Houston and then Kobe. I need to see more Kobe Buffkin, more Eli Brooks, like more 3-guard sets. They need to go smaller, in my opinion, and try Caleb Houston as a power forward because that's what he's playing as basically with his shooting. So those are all like the long-winded, didn't make much sense coherently, but like there's a lot of problems in Michigan basketball, and I guess a lot of it comes down to just who they lost and the replacement level. Like I just thought these All-American freshmen would look better and step into it, but they're still growing. The problem is the January Big Ten schedule for them is brutal. Like they get Rutgers at the rack, which is not easy, then Michigan State, then Illinois after that. So there's really no time to figure it out. Just all I hope for when we watch this game, the 3 of us, you know, in the nation, just no more 3 power forward sets. I just can't live with 3 power forwards essentially on the floor at the same time because there's no offense from that, and the defense is not good enough to justify it. So honestly, you guys shouldn't be nervous at all.
I'm not.
You have to play Purdue right after us. Oh my god.
And then Purdue after that. Like it's just like everyone in January.
The only thing I wrote for Michigan was outside of Dickinson and Eli Brooks, does Michigan have a third guy? Not really. Seems like.
No.
And
this is not where we slander people, but let's just say with feelings that we've had, like about Hogard, about Hauser in the past, it's kind of how I am with Brandon Johns right now. I don't need to see him on the floor.
After his awesome tournament run.
He had a fantastic tournament run. I'll always remember it. He played out of his mind. It's just not been there lately.
Would you like to put Gabe Brown in your combined starting 5 now?
Yeah, he would be in the combined starting 5.
Because I remember that combined starting 5 at the beginning of the season was 4 Michigan players.
Who's the one from Michigan State that I took?
Max Christie.
Christie. Yeah, turns out
he's probably not making that team.
No, him and Houston's production is honestly as high as these All-American McDonald's guys were. They're about the same. Like Houston's 9.3 points a game. I think Christie's 9.7, and that's pretty much. I know they do other things, and Christie's defense had
very vital on the defensive end.
His defense has been much better than Houston's, but like points production wise, they haven't been that much different. And so I guess your third guy, Alex, would be Houston. I will say Devontae Jones has been playing much better basketball as of late, so that's good. And I will acknowledge that because I'm a Frankie Collins guy, but Devontae Jones has been playing better. Obviously, Michigan could pull this out. Maybe like as a Michigan fan, your hope is like, okay, the talent will figure it out and you'll hit a run. And honestly, if they go 2-0 this week, that could be a catalyst to spark them through Big Ten play. But as we sit here right now,
bubble,
like, them going 500 in the Big Ten play feels right. Like every other game, win or loss. Like, and it'd be like stretches of 3 losses and then a stretch of 3 wins against bad teams in the Big Ten. I do think going 500 in the Big Ten would still let them get in the tournament because of how good the Big Ten will be, like in the analytical numbers.
Just got to win 10 games. Just got to win 10 games. No Big Ten team's ever not made it if you win 10 games.
To life on the bubble.
Joel already had you guys the last 4 in as of January 2nd, 1st, yesterday.
2 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if they go like what, you play like 20 Big Ten games. If you go 17 and 15, you probably sneak in as a Big Ten bubble team.
Once we get into February, we'll talk you through life on the bubble.
It's fun.
I need to see more Kobe.
It is terrible. Every game's a national championship. I'm happy we're not in that point right now. We could always get there though.
No, we're not going to get there. We're better.
Shoot, you guys are in Big Ten championship, like the top tier of teams that win the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, I just remember all the conversations we had last year, Grant, after the tournament. You didn't believe me when I said Michigan State will be better next year. Just didn't want to believe me. Got to trust Tom Izzo. He knows what he's doing.
I definitely thought you guys would be better.
Yeah, but you didn't think we'd be good. You didn't think top 4 in the Big Ten.
No, but I thought like around that. And that's still not a lock either, you know? That anything can happen.
Definitely not.
The season,
they could be on the bubble by the end of the season.
Probably not with the non
predictions.
But yeah, I guess we have to do that. I haven't. Oh, my brain.
Do we
is
do must-win meters for college basketball?
I don't think
too many games. End of the season though, bubble games.
Yes. It's must-win meter for Michigan State. It's a rival.
Whoa!
It's an inferior program. You beat up on these teams.
Whoa!
Rutgers is like a can't lose for Michigan, but Michigan State's like is a need it. You know, like Rutgers is like you can't lose, but so is UCF and they lost. So, my brain is so in football over/under spreads that I'll try to think of something here. Well, Michigan State's definitely getting 78 points in this game because of the way Michigan's defense plays. 78-65, Michigan State.
14-point lead. I'll take that all day. Holy cow.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
That would be nice.
The beginning of the game, I think, is the most important. If Michigan comes out super hot from 3, gains confidence, all those talented 5-stars, actually put it together for a game, we could be in trouble.
I think they just have to, honestly, to Evan's point with the big matchup, I think Michigan has to at least pound Dickinson like in the post until it doesn't work. Like if Bingham does step up and like doesn't get in foul trouble, but like the entries have to be fast and furious in Dickinson because he's your best bet to like weather the storm of the first half in this game. But yeah, 78-6. I don't think it's going to go well. 78-65 Michigan State.
80-73 Michigan State.
That is not Big Ten basketball.
Well, you said Michigan's defense was a sieve, so that's what I'm basing it on. My original prediction was 71-63.
It's not top 25, so yeah, not very good.
Oh, I was going to say, I'll say 77-72. I think this would be closer than because it's a rivalry game. And
I think it'll be close for 35 minutes.
And Michigan State has spurts where we don't play well, and the talent on Michigan's roster is better than the talent on Northwestern's roster.
I will say Michigan State, after they go through those massive turnover stretches, they have been pretty resilient.
They have been, yes.
So I hope that continues.
Like if there's ever a game to try out Houston as your like 4, it'd be this game because he can like at least he's not going to get dusted by Joey Hauser playing defense on Joey Hauser.
Malik Hall will come in if that becomes a problem.
Right, but I think out of the gates, like Houston has to be the 4. I don't like.
Yeah, ESPN's power index Michigan, 60% chance to win this game.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
'cause,
Northwestern had a 60% chance as well.
Oh, nice.
It's because
road-based.
Michigan. Yeah, and also like Michigan's schedule is like analytically top 5 toughest in the country, so they're all like forgiving them for like, but they've like Michigan has lost 2 games that they should have won in Seton Hall and UCF, so that's the mark of like not a great team. One at home, one on the road.
Minnesota,
where you're up, like,
they should have won too.
yeah, you're up like 9 in the second half and you just blow it. Like that's not a mentally tough team. And it happens over and over again, so it's just not good. So I guess, I mean, there's line stuff here.
Let me rapid fire the Goff or questions, just to see where you're at.
Because we already talked about Amon-Ra, basically. I mean, he's unbelievable. It feels good that this podcast, at least Evan and I, nailed that.
We were on
I'm
it
happy
as
for
soon
you
as
guys.
draft recap.
Happy for
We
you
were
guys.
on that. We said gem.
Yeah,
You know,
we
I
said
think I
Robert
got
Woods
penalized
comparison.
for not agreeing with you guys in the fantasy championship. That was the universe coming back at me.
This is your fault. You
Feels good.
deserve that.
I will not do that next year. All right. Goff or Tua?
Tua.
Tua. Goff or Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence.
Lawrence upside.
Lawrence as well.
Younger.
Goff
Contract.
or Davis Mills?
Goff.
I go Mills.
No, you don't.
Future.
I mean, they were showing that Mills completion percentage, but they're not winning anything.
Answer the question, Grant. I like Jared, though. Good guy.
Davis Mills, because I just don't want to. I don't want to watch Jared Goff for another year. I really don't.
Goff or Taysom Hill?
Goff.
Taysom Hill, he's super exciting, and I was
I'll
really good with
take
him
Goff.
in Madden football.
Goff or Jameis Winston? Healthy.
Jameis.
I go Goff.
Jameis is I would buy tickets to the
Jameis
Lions
is so
game to watch
shitty.
Jameis. He's so electric, though.
I think I would take Goff.
Yeah, I would go Goff, too. Goff or Drew Lock?
Goff.
I'm a Drew
Evan,
Lock. I'm a Drew Lock
This one was
fan.
for you.
Evan, you have to stay with
I'm a
it.
Goff.
Yeah, I will. I'll stay with Drew Lock.
Goff or Zach Wilson?
Zach Wilson.
I don't know, dude. He's looked
They
bad.
were beating the Bucks, though. Zach Wilson.
Grant.
You see that?
Do you want Zach Wilson?
You see that one throw that he made at the combine across his body, like 60 yards.
That was sick.
Goff or Trey Lance?
Trey Lance.
Lance.
Goff or
Justin
Jimmy
Fields, too.
G?
I'll take Jimmy G.
Jimmy G.
Goff or Mac Jones?
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
Some people don't like Mac Jones. He's pretty boring. And the final one.
Kirk Cousins, yes. I'll take Kirk Cousins.
No. The final one. Goff or Tyrod Taylor?
Goff.
Goff.
Goff or Baker? I can't believe I even asked that one. Baker's kind of fallen off.
I hate his commercials, Jared Goff.
I think
Now
I'm
to get-
taking Jared Goff.
I'll take Baker. All
I don't think Baker's developed with his footwork, and he's too turnover prone.
That's all I got.
Evan made a great point. This will be one of the last things we talk about this show. I was listening to another podcast, and they're talking about QB situations in the NFL and like the already early talk in the offseason, who's moving where potentially. And I do agree that Kirk Cousins is better than Jared Goff, but if any of you two try to convince me that the Lions need to go get Kirk Cousins this offseason, I'll kick you in the face because that
we
will
don't
not
need
help
Kirk
a
Cousins.
thing.
No.
No, it would hurt
We'd
the
be
Lions
better.
because but like you would never
8
get to
wins.
the end goal.
It would be sick to have a Honolulu Blue Kirk Cousins jersey. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, but we'd
look-
be like 8 wins max.
I love it. I like the guy. He's a confirmed fan and probably he's aware of Codes Apparel via our source Tyler Conklin. Like
He does have
Kirk
a
loves
Codes Apparel sweatshirt.
Kirk loves the brand, but no chance. Like he doesn't help us win a playoff game. I don't think.
I think he
I
can
can't
get
do
you
it.
there.
He's got the Vikings there. He's upset the Saints in the
Just their
Mercedes.
Vikings have been
The
so
Superdome.
bad this year.
Her defense was really good.
I saw a stat that was, who was it? It was Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr. Their entire career, over 200 starts, their defense has held opponents to 7 or under only once in their entire careers. Mac Jones, it's already happened to him 4 times this year.
That is surprising. Goff or Wentz? 1
Mac
and 2.
Jones fraud.
Goff or Wentz?
I go Wentz.
I think I'd take Goff.
Really? Wentz is actually pretty decent.
Wentz is decent when he has
Protection.
Frank Reich calling plays for him.
Yeah, his guy.
I was
Wentz.
doing line.
I think Goff could do the same exact thing in the Colts offense this year, and I think it would look uglier this year with Wentz and Lions offense.
I think Wentz can make more throws.
I was doing Lions win-loss projections for next year because I'm a loser on my car ride home today.
We don't even know who's going to be on the team, Grant.
No, but we pretty much know our schedule, and it's pretty favorable.
It's all the worst teams around
That's how the
NFL
works. You play the last in the division.
No, Alex, it's like divisions. You get division crossovers,
yes,
and our
and
division crossovers.
Also, you play the other last place teams.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your
true,
biggest
though.
thing about the
Can't believe you just called me for saying something was accurate after Evan just said that 5 seconds before me. And you called me.
You listen here, you.
That was super
it's because we drew the NFC East and the AFC East. When you draw divisions, because you play all 4 teams of 2 divisions. Okay, that's what makes your schedule. The crossovers against the worst teams in Blah Division doesn't really matter. What matters is because we played the NFC West this year, who's a juggernaut. That's why it was a tough schedule. We play the NFC East, who stinks. Like, give me the Redskins, the football team, and give me the Giants.
We lose to the Eagles by 50 points this year. We didn't. I forgot about that. It doesn't matter, Grant.
Eagles are a playoff team. Eagles are a playoff team.
The Giants stink. The football team stinks.
The football team would beat us.
No, not next year.
You don't even know who's going to be on the team.
Not next year, Alex.
It could be worse.
Not next year.
Do you remember who Brad Holmes signed for wideouts this year to make us better? Rashad Perriman.
He drafted Amon Ross. That's all that matters. He also signed Josh Reynolds.
You're out on Brad Holmes now? Well, you can kick rocks and go root for the Chiefs that just lost to the Bengals. Brad Holmes had a nice draft. And you know what I wrote down for this Lions team?
Well, he might not be good at signing free agents.
I'm very excited for future drafts. He signed Josh Reynolds, who was nice.
You know, Alex, it's kind of hard to get free agents to come to Detroit when we're rebuilding.
Facts.
Fine, Evan. But you were telling me you couldn't get someone better than Tyrell Williams and Rashad Perriman.
Probably not.
So then we're not going to get anyone good ever.
When we parked at LCM when we walked to that burger joint. Did you want to live in Detroit?
Alex, there's a difference. Like, if you're like decent, like more teams are willing, like more players are willing to play for you. But when you're a bottom feeder,
understand, Evan.
When a guy is choosing where to go in free agency and he sees, Jared Goff at the helm, no, he's like, do I get? Yeah, I will. I'll sign.
But Dan Campbell, player guy, Dan Campbell.
My dad just texted me and said you and your friends should apply for Survivor. So that's where we're at. This show has gone officially too long.
Totally do it. I would do it.
I was sweet at Survivor as a kid.
Dan Campbell's got way too many plays on his play sheet. I don't even know what he's calling when
he's a Sean Payton play decisive.
Yeah,
he's calling run up the middle.
The peak of the Lions football does not involve Dan Campbell calling plays. So
Joe Brady's available, but Grant says he was a product of LSU's talent.
I'm starting to think that I could.
No, Ed Ogeron was a product of that talent. He made their talent better by calling plays. He gets to the Panthers. Mike Rule wants to run the ball, and he doesn't have Christian McCaffrey. And he has to call plays by a quarterback that got cut and can't throw the ball 10 yards.
All right. Now you convinced me back in.
And then the quarterback that they try to get is Sam Darnold.
When I was watching Jamar Chase play,
once upon a time.
When I was watching Jamar Chase on Sunday when my Bengals beat the Chiefs, I was like, I could have called plays for.
You've been a fan for a week, dude.
Hey, who day? Talk about them Bengals.
Name 10 players.
Hey, it's only a 4-hour drive. Only a 4-hour drive, Grant. You can make that trip.
You want 10 players? You get 10 players in your face.
Name all 22 starters.
Von Bell, Eli Apple, TJ Hendrickson, Burrow, Mixon. Higgins, Boyd, Uzama, Chase.
That's only 10. Name all
Jesse
22
Bates.
starters.
Dude, so many people in Cincinnati have Jesse Bates jerseys. It's unbelievable. I've never seen so much love for a safety.
You were at the game?
Yep.
No, I saw it on
Should have told everyone you were on the game. You called the game, actually, with Jim Nantz.
With Kay Adams.
He called the game with Jim Nantz.
I was gonna say, Evan, that's why you definitely watched Good Morning Football this morning, because you're Kay Adams simp.
That's why I used to watch it.
Everyone should be.
I simp for Peter Schrager.
Oh, he likes the Lions. He feels bad for us.
He's a good dude.
He's a good dude. I feel like we would have a beer with Peter Schrager and have a great time.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the other guy. The
Kyle.
He was
You
on
know
like
Kyle?
he's all right, but he was on soap operas. Like, what is his qualifications to be on the show?
He was a fullback at Princeton, dude.
Really?
Yes.
He was on like soap operas.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere, man.
Days of our lives. Our daycare lady would watch that every single day.
My mom was an All My Children gal, and I used to watch that.
My mom still watches that stuff. I was
As
home
she
over the New Year's Eve holiday, and she was watching it on New Year's Eve day at
You
noon.
guys ever think about how absurd the grind must be to be on a soap opera? They pump out new shows every day.
They just kill them off all the time, so you don't work
Yeah, they're
that
still
long.
running on. When I was in
Every
Hooters,
day.
they had it on the TV.
Joey
Like, we would, like-
Tribbiani, he got killed off his soap opera after a little while.
Like like the losers that ruined Game of Thrones couldn't even muster up good episodes once a week. These guys are pumping out quality
When's the
drama
last time you
content
saw
every single day.
An episode. Or any of an episode. Because I
Middle
saw
school.
10 minutes of one. It's the worst acting of all time.
It's so bad that it's good.
No, it's so bad. It's terrible.
All right.
Yeah, we're at 2
I think
hours.
that's the show. We're clocking in. At Shot
Golf
of
or Tim
MS for
Tebow.
golf.
I'll take Tebow for the fanfare.
At Shot of MS for any social accounts. Gotta be plugged in, push notifications on for the next Flag1 video. But the blue wall is not going to be out in force for a long, long time after what happened against Georgia. How to listen: Apple Pods, Spotify, YouTube. Rate it 5 stars and review on all platforms, and submit any questions you want answered. There was no questions submitted today. Hand up. That felt bad. We need some more interaction from the fans. And I'm looking at you.
We're looking at you, posse.
Bleep that out again.
I didn't say
but
anything
yeah-
bad.
No, I know, but I'm going to bleep out their names. We can't have any government ID stolen. With that being said, cheers. I finished this whole beatbox, so this is my last sip of the beatbox.
Are you
Cheers, episode.
feeling it from that 11%?
Cheers.
I mean, yeah, I like cussed you out over like nothing like 5 minutes ago. So
You did do that. Yeah, it was stupid.
Cheers to the new year. Cheers to Michigan State hockey.
Okay.
They haven't
We're
been
going
that
for a
great.
playoff push. Playoff push, Alex. We're ranked 22nd. 21 votes to get in ranked. We're not too
All
off.
right. All right.
Cheers to the NFL playoffs. I'm super excited for. Alex?
I figured we only do 2 cheers.